What happened to Pokemon Sleep? Well, a new patent was issued not too long ago, and it shed some light onto the game that Pokemon talked about a few years ago. It seems like it's still gonna be a thing. Let's take a look. All right, so I'm gonna remind y'all basically what our first announcement of Pokemon Sleep was. This is from about 3 years ago, and it was part of a Pokemon Go announcement. So I'll skip the stuff at the beginning that wasn't really relevant. So they talk about basically how Pokemon Go made walking entertaining, right? So now what they're trying to do is make sleep entertaining. And with this patent, we actually have quite a bit of information as to what Pokemon Sleep is going to look like, despite it being this mystery. So they're saying we can enrich our lives even further, and they're going to essentially track your sleep and try to promote better sleeping habits, which I think is it's a cool thing, right? I don't know if this is something that I personally would use, but I think it's kind of cool. So Pikachu's there, you got this little device hanging out next to you, keeps track of how long you sleep. It does all sorts of stuff though, according to this patent. It's actually wild. To rewind the clock a little bit, PokemonSleep.com was registered by Pokemon in 2021, and it ended up redirecting you to a couple different places, but ultimately it was actually directing you to a patent at one point. I saw some stuff about how it was actually redirecting people to, you know, a YouTuber at one point. I don't know if it got hacked, but nonetheless, it has pointed us to the patent, and that's where things have kind of spread a little bit more recently. Nintendo Every made a post talking about the patent. Pokesutami made a post talking about the patent. A couple other news sites have talked about it. I went through and looked at the patent briefly. I'm going to be honest. I don't have a ton of experience looking through patents, but it looks like this was actually filed in August of last year. It was published on November 17th of last year, so it takes a few months. Talks about the inventors, that it's from the Pokemon Company, and the abstract of it is that a user breeds a virtual life form by practicing good sleep habits, stays motivated towards practicing good sleep habits, while enjoying breeding the virtual life form. A game server manages progress of a breeding game of a virtual life form. The game server includes circuitry configured to acquire sleep data, and that includes a sleep pattern indicating bedtime and wake up user, store acquired sleep data, etc. So the thing that's very interesting here is they are basically trying to take ownership of any gamification of sleep in the context of taking a life form and having it grow, which in their case is taking a Pokemon and having it grow. So to me, after looking through this kind of patent and catching a couple different things that I thought were interesting, it kind of feels like it's a Tamagotchi, if you guys remember what those are. We had them as kids. Nintendog is maybe another one, kind of like Pokemon Refresh, Pokemon and Me. Basically, you have this Pokemon in this case, right? And you're going to be able to level it up. You're going to be able to evolve it. You're going to be able to do these different things, play little mini games with it. And that's basically going to function like a Tamagotchi, right? As you sleep, as your habits are good, as you get a lot of sleep, it's going to track those things. It's going to give you bonuses in game. So this references it to the virtual life form, but it basically talks about how, you know, that information is going to be transferred through their different processing units. They do say that the processing unit may generate a mini game. You have different events that can take place. You play the mini game. It prevents the user falling back to sleep. The mini game requires user to perform certain types of tasks. So it says you might have to move your body a certain way. So it may be like you wake up, you check your Pokemon Sleep, and it tells you, okay, we're going to wake up, we're going to do 5 jumping jacks, right? Like trying to incorporate some kind of healthy lifestyle aspects to it. So I'm thinking that's something important to note. I saw some really interesting stuff about like jet lag, like it'll track if you're jet lagged based on your sleep patterns. There's all these different little mini games that are going to be a part of it. Well, at least that they're patenting out, so they have those things. And they can evolve too. Examples of enabling the virtual form to grow include, but are not limited to, making it larger, making it stronger, making it more beautiful or handsome, causing it to change from a child to an adult, causing it to evolve, and then having it mature internally. So they're basically covering everything, right? Like we can have them evolve, we can have their personality develop, we can have them level up, we can do the whole thing, right? So they're covering everything as you would expect. And it says a user terminal, according to the 4th embodiment, executes a game program stored in a storage unit to cause a user to play a breeding game of a virtual life form based on sleep data of the user. And then it talks about how it can use network, connectivity, storage, etc. to store this data and ultimately kind of keep track of it and enhance progress in a game. So there's been a lot of question marks about Pokemon Sleep, but with Pokemon Day just a few weeks away, it's very possible we get that update that we've been waiting for so long. It's been in development for many, many years, and I think they're gotta be pretty close since they've already filed and seemingly had their patents approved. Let me know your thoughts. Is this something that you guys would pick up? This gamification of sleep, probably on your mobile device. Would you want to feed and like exercise and like level up a Pokemon on your phone if it was just confined in the app of Pokemon Sleep? What if that same question meant that you can combine with Pokemon Home and transfer your favorite Pokemon in to kind of sleep with you or whatever in a non-weird way. Gardevoir fans, I'm looking at you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.